on a sunny and beautiful Thursday morning. Welcome on in to the Bullpen. I am Adam the Bull, and we are brought to you by Bet Rivers. If you're not using the Bet Rivers app, you are missing out. Make sure you check it out today if you haven't done so already. Get there, get on there, and bet on whatever you want, really. We got everything covered from tennis to baseball to basketball to WNBA and a whole lot more. Go to betrivers.com or the Bet Rivers app. You can always follow me on Twitter at Adam the Bull. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page. We appreciate it. And vote in the poll. Do you think the Browns helmet unveil was staged with the guy who fell in the water? I'm going to get to that. Big weekend in baseball. Not only are the Guardians playing well, but two members of the organization going in the Hall of Fame officially this weekend. So excited about that. And we will get to the Browns on the field for day one of training camp, all coming up today. You could send me a message, a question, a comment about anything you want in the YouTube chat. Just jump in there. Now, I'm going to vote. I'm saying that was not staged, and I'm in the minority here. So I don't want to go crazy about this, but the Browns do many things kind of stupidly. Obviously, they had this huge buildup for the new helmet. They had it on like a barge out in the lake. And everybody's seen the video, I'm sure now. The dude wipes thing comes off, and whoever this is videotaping takes not a header, but falls into the water, steps off the barge, and a lot of people think it was staged. I got to tell you, either way, I don't care if it was staged or not. The Browns do everything so stupid. Why would you stage this? What is the benefit of this guy walking into the water? I really don't care if it was staged or not. The whole thing was a little weird. The Browns just do some weird things. They think they're funny. They think they're smart. They're not. This is just kind of another thing to use for the organization. That's embarrassing. If the Browns suck again this year, it'll keep getting brought up by me and other people, and we'll yell and scream, these idiots can't even get a helmet unveiled right. This dope fell into the water. And, again, I don't know. I'm watching it over and over and over again. Max and Z, who produced the show, they're convinced it's staged. I know I was listening to Jonathan and Nick for a little while yesterday. They think it's staged. I don't care either way. It's stupid either way. Either they're – it's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. Now, it really has nothing to do with football. I actually like the helmet. I actually think the new helmet's kind of cool. So I think for once they got that right. Just my opinion. Everybody has their own taste. I don't really care about that type of stuff too much. By the way, not only can you watch the show on YouTube, you can also watch it on X, Twitter, on Twitch. Is it Twitch? I sound like such an old man. Is it Twitch? I'm like an old guy now. It really sucks to be the old guy. But anyway, a lot of different places. In terms of what happened on the practice field, obviously, when you look at the Browns depth chart, Joe Flacco didn't do any 11-on-11s yesterday. They did have Kenny Pickett as the number one quarterback in the 11-on-11s. Kevin Stefanski said they're going to switch it up. Most of what he says is useless. I just don't know. I will say he did say they want to make a decision sooner rather than later, which I think is good for everybody. I wish they would be more forthright with what they're thinking and what the plan is, but they haven't been. We did see Kenny Pickett ahead of Dylan Gabriel, who was ahead of Shedeur Sanders most of the day. I know that's going to get some people worked up. It's still the first day of camp. I assume everybody's being evaluated. I don't believe there's any agendas against Shedeur Sanders, at least not from the people that matter. I'm sure there's fans that don't like him, just like there's fans that don't like whoever. I can't get worried about that. I'm not going to worry about Mita. Mita? Man, my brain is a little fried today. By the media. I kept meaning to say media, and I was saying Mita. I don't know what's wrong with me. Media agendas, if there are any, and I think none of that matters. The Browns, as an organization, have no business purposely leaning one way or the other. They need to start. Well, I was going to say they need to start the guy that gives them the best chance to win, but they don't necessarily have to do that. That's what most teams would do, and that's what the Browns should do. But I don't know if the Browns are going to do that. And they would never admit that. They could always tell you, "Oh, this guy gives you." How many times have we heard over the years with this group, with Kevin Stefanski, say, "Well, he gives us the best chance to win," when we knew that wasn't the case. Whether it was an injured Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson or whoever else along the line that wasn't playing well. So if they start Kenny Pickett, well, they're going to say he gives them the best chance to win. We could choose. I doubt that's true, but I don't know for sure. And I don't know that it matters. They may have, for whatever reason, a reason they want to start Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. I understand that the early returns based on usage in spring camps and one day of training camp would lead you to believe that the last part, that Shedeur Sanders is not the guy that is on top of the radar as a possible starter. But things can change in a hurry. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. We have no idea how guys are picking up the offense, how quick they're able to take it in, how quick they're able to show it on the field in terms of decision-making. It's easy for us to just look at passes on air and say one guy's better than the other. That far from tells the whole story. It's easy for us to all say Shedeur Sanders looks better than Dylan Gabriel. I guess he has. It looks like he's played better to me, but it's just I'm not there for every pass. Nobody is, except for the team. And again, you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, because we don't have all the information, and we often, media, fans, make big judgments without having all the details. That's part of our job in the media. We give you opinions. And I and I think most others try to do it with the best of our, we use whatever knowledge we have, whatever information we have, to give the best opinion or what we think is the most likely outcome, and you try your best there, but you don't. Nobody has all of the info, and even the guys that have all the info get it wrong all the time, as we know, as we've seen time and time again with the Browns. So certainly, I'll keep my eye as we go forward. Sometime in the next couple of weeks, we'll start regularly having Mary Kay and Zach Jackson on the podcast. Zach's going to be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today, and so we'll get his early take on it, because obviously he was on top of things last year and had a better feel for training camp than most, and I'll be curious to see what he has to say about the first day and what he saw. And I think the most interesting thing that Kevin Stefanski said, because he doesn't, almost all of what he says in his entire time here has been meaningless. It's been coach speak. It's been nonsense. But he did make a point of saying that they want to have a starter. That he's not, I don't think at least he doesn't want to pick the starter after the third preseason game. They want to pick a starter pretty quick, as they should. But that obviously means less time for the rookies to prove that they should be starting. But what are the odds that either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders right now, if you want the Browns to win, I can take a cold, I could just take a cold brain look at the quarterback situation, and so can everybody else in the media, and not just the quarterback situation, the whole team, and say the Browns are going to stink. Somebody asked me how many games I think they'll win yesterday, and I said 6, right? Which is a little better than I think I said when we did the schedule game. But still, 6 is a pretty awful season if they go 6-11. Better than last year, certainly, but and if you play out the season 100 times, I think the Browns most of the time would finish with 5 or 6 wins. Like 90 out of 100 would be 5 and 6. But there's always a couple of outliers, and you never know. And ultimately, going into a season, I have to believe, as a fan, you want your team to win, right? You never want. It's easy to say, well, if the Browns have the number 1 pick next year, maybe the next year they get the quarterback, especially if you're someone that doesn't believe in Shedeur Sanders and doesn't believe in Dylan Gabriel, and you think they got to get the answer when they have the 2 first-round picks next year. So maybe there's some of you that want the Browns to be bad this year. And I understand that certainly at the end of the season, winning a meaningless Week 18 game to get 3 wins instead of 4, that is stupid. That is if people get mad at you for rooting against your team in that situation, I think that's silly, and it's not thinking big picture, which you need to if you actually want to win. Well, winning 4 games instead of 3, 5 instead of 4, the hell does that get you? It gets you nothing. But the Giants, for example, cost themselves. They could have had Cam Ward, and maybe they're it's a whole different story there. But in the beginning of the year, at least, I think as a fan, you want your team to win. So based on the knowledge we have, based on the information I have, based on what we've seen so far, what we know, it seems clear to me that Joe Flacco gives the Browns the best chance to win. Now, do we know that for a certainty? No, I'm sure there's some of you that don't agree with that. I can't imagine there's many people listening that think Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel give him the best chance to win, but I'm sure there's some people that maybe think Shedeur right away. I think it's very rare that a rookie gives you the best chance to win at quarterback in year 1. Most rookies, certainly not just Shedeur Sanders. But is Joe Flacco so good that it's not possible that one of the rookies could end up being a better option? Sure. Joe Flacco's in his 40s. He hasn't been consistently good in a decade. I'm not going to make it seem like he's some sort of superstar. Far from it. Joe Flacco's toward the end of his rope. This could be it. Who knows? I don't even know if he's going to make the team. Right now, I think he's the best option, and I don't know if he's going to make the team. That's how bad the situation is right now, or maybe not bad is the right word, or unknown the situation is right now. So we still got a long way to go till it plays itself out, but maybe not quite as long as I thought initially. I thought they might wait longer, but it sounds like Kevin Stefanski wants to run a really different type of camp. He talked about getting in pads earlier. He talked about hitting in practice, something that they have never done under Kevin Stefanski. And I think that's good. I think this team needs to be more physical in practice. They have not been a physical team. They have babied all these practices, and frankly, it's led to a lot of injuries. Now, is it because they haven't hit? Some of this is just luck, bad luck. But people get so worked up if somebody gets hurt in training camp or this is football. I mean, you understand. I've been around enough guys that played in the NFL at this point. It's the deal, man. You got to get ready for the season, and the Browns have not done a good job of that. We've described their training camp in the past as Camp Cupcake. Well, sounds like Kevin Stefanski wants to change that. And again, since he rarely says anything of value, the fact that he specifically pointed out that they're going to hit in training camp, at least some, I think that's great. I think it's a major positive. I think it's something that Kevin Stefanski has said. It's in a way, it shows growth as a head coach. Hopefully, there's other areas where that will. But yeah, I think it's great, and we'll see if it makes a difference. But also, I feel like in the that aggressiveness is seeping into their decision at quarterback potentially as well, with Kevin Stefanski saying that they will in fact pick the starting quarterback sooner rather than later, which I think is a good call. Corey says, can you ask Dustin what he thinks about Venus Williams winning? All right, I'll ask Dustin. Well, remind me for next Tuesday's show. Sam Hill with the bull emojis. Z says bull. Hello, Z. Pick 99 Bull, what's up? What is your favorite MLB park you've been to and your least favorite? My favorite is Wrigley, obviously. My least favorite was the old, it's not around anymore, but the old Phillies stadium. I can't remember what it's called. I don't love their new stadium either. I think was it Veterans Stadium in Philly? No. That might have been. I can't remember. Whatever their old stadium was terrible. I remember going as a kid. That would be my least favorite. And of the new stadiums, the stadiums that are currently open, the Metrodome in Minnesota, which is not open anymore either, or at least the Twins don't play there. I don't know if it's still around. That was a bad ballpark too. But of the ballparks I've been to that are in existence now, I would say my least favorite is Philadelphia. It was just nothing. I was in Washington also. That's a nothing stadium. John says, yes, the Browns helmet thing was staged. It was influencer Ross Smith who fell in the water. Look it up. Okay. Great. Such brilliance from the Browns. So stupid. They think they're the smartest guy in the room, and they're not. Sam says, Bull, we are biased as Cleveland fans in thinking that Tom Hamilton is the greatest radio broadcaster ever. Where does he rank to you? All-time great? Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to get to that in a minute. So stand by just 1 second because I love Tom Hamilton. And I think he is one of the best of all time, and I think it's long overdue. And I'm excited for him. But I'll get back to that in a second. Marissa says, you have to use some type of data to elevate the players. Nothing is perfect. To say everything we are seeing isn't reliable isn't an acceptable statement. Oh, Manza, not Marissa. Sorry. I don't know what you want me to say. You use the information you have to make the best opinion possible. That's what we do. But if you treat the information you have, which is minimal, as if it's a sure thing, that's when we get into trouble. That's all I'm saying. Pick 99. What's your favorite day of the sports calendar every year? Week 1 NFL, opening day baseball, first 2 days of March Madness. I love opening day of baseball. It's very close now, week 1 of the NFL. I'd actually say week 1 of the NFL these days I'm even more excited about. Hot take, but you might be with me on this, Bull. Fantasy baseball is 10 times better than fantasy football. It's I play a lot. I play in a lot of fantasy football leagues and only one fantasy baseball. I love fantasy baseball, and I think fantasy baseball is way more challenging. There's a lot more luck in fantasy football, but I wouldn't say it's better. I like them both. Z, you see my new bat? I just got that bat in the background there. I moved in front of it. I got to go this way, right? There we go. There's my new bat. Yeah, my Little League team, at the end of the season, the kids, they bought that bat for me, and all the kids signed it as a thank you for coaching them this year. I thought it was a very meaningful. I really appreciated that. So that was really cool. So my wife just put it up in the background. I'm glad you noticed it, Z. Let's see. Kevin, Mike Tomlin hits in practice all week. Hits in practice all week. He says if players don't like it, they can play somewhere else. We need to hit. We need to be physical. Absolutely. Blockbuster says old-ass Aaron Rodgers will smoke the Browns twice. He may. It was veterans. Sam, thank you. Good job. The vet, yeah. Sam, another Sam says the vet was a dump, but for many years it was our dump. Better for football than baseball. All right, you're a Philly guy, huh? And Kevin says Manzardo bringing his mustache power again yesterday. He needs to play all game, every game. All right, couple things as we get to baseball here. Number one, I want to talk about the Hall of Fame. It's going to be a great weekend. I have been to Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I think twice. I've been in Cooperstown many times. I lived in that, central New York area for a long time. For many years, there used to be a Hall of Fame game between two major league teams. All the players would come to Little Cooperstown. I actually did play-by-play of that game on my local radio station in Utica for, I don't know, 2-3 years, I think. I can't remember exactly now. Very excited about the class of 2025. The great CC Sabathia going in terms of connection to Cleveland. Obviously, Sabathia had a second great part of his career with the Yankees and is going in with the Yankees cap. But he started his career, obviously still has a lot of love for the Cleveland organization. I was going to say the Guardians. Obviously, he was an Indian. Well-deserved. There was a time towards the end of his New York career where I thought he might be a little short, and then he bounced back and kind of reinvented himself in those last couple of years, and I think put himself over the top. Always very likable. Anybody I know that's interacted with him, excluding myself, it's been a pleasure. Nice guy, great ambassador for the game, great example for younger players. Went through tough times, dealt with off-the-field issues, and made it through and did a great job. And now son's playing. It's cool. So congratulations to CC Sabathia. Great player, great person, well-deserved honor going into the Hall of Fame. He'll be inducted this weekend. Somebody asked me earlier about Tom Hamilton. And Tom Hamilton 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He goes in the broadcaster's wing, obviously. Just read Zach Meisel's piece in The Athletic about Tom. It's a great read. He speaks to a lot of the other greats in the business, some Hall of Famers included. Tom Hamilton is 100% deserving. He is a great play-by-play broadcaster. I love listening to him. He is one of my favorites of all time. He definitely makes my all-time list. I loved listening to Harry Callis, who did Phillies games back in the day. Vin Scully, certainly one of my favorites. And Tom Hamilton is on that list of iconic broadcasters. And I think 99% of Cleveland fans would agree. And if other fan bases, that have heard him, I'm sure would agree too. He's great. Always been super nice to me. I can only speak to that. Everybody else I know that has interacted with him has always appreciated their interactions. He's a great guest when we've had him on the podcast, the show, the radio station. He's fantastic. I'm very happy for him and his family. And I'm excited that he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend as well. Also going in, one of my favorite players of the last 25 years, Ichiro Suzuki. I rode his rookie season to a fantasy baseball championship in 2001. He was always a lot of fun to play, to watch play. Great stat about Ichiro Suzuki. In his 10th at bat, in his major league career, he got a hit that made him 3 for 10. And at that point, he was hitting 300. He never went below 300 after his 10th at bat for his entire career. You know how hard that is? There's guys who can't. Stephen Kwan, who we love, excellent hitter, has never hit 300 in a season. As good as he is as a hitter. Ichiro never was hitting below 300 for his career after his 10th at bat. I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around that. The Veterans Committee, or whatever they're calling it now. Well, before we get to that, closer Billy Wagner also gets in. I was a little on the fence about Billy Wagner, but once the guy gets in, good for him. And the two guys who get in the veterans group or whatever they're calling it now, Dick Allen and Dave Parker, two excellent players. Dick Allen a little before my time, so I don't have as good a feel for him. I used to think Dave Parker, like Billy Wagner, was a little short, but I was always a big Dave Parker. As a kid, as a young kid, I loved those Pirates. In those days, you didn't get to see much baseball besides, your local teams. But you'd get to see, as a kid, when the Pirates would play the Mets, I'd get to see Dave Parker. I'd get to see Willie Stargell. I really liked watching those guys play. I liked their hats. I thought they were really cool back in the day. And Parker not only was a great power hitter, but he also had a cannon. He had a great nickname, the Cobra. So kudos to Dave Parker and Dick Allen, who Dick Allen should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. I don't know him from personal experience as well, but should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. So congrats to all the guys that are getting in, including our own CC Sabathia and Tom. And I couldn't be more excited about it. All right. As for the Guardians, they win again, 11 of 13. They're playing great baseball. I did not see this coming. I don't believe it's going to last, and I keep saying that. But I think part of the reason I'm saying that is because I don't want to. I feel like the second I buy into the Guardians again, they're gonna come crashing down. They've won 4 in a row. They've won 10 of 12. They're back over 500 for the first time in about 3 weeks. They're actually only 8 games behind the Tigers. The Tigers are playing terrible baseball. They're struggling. They've lost 9 of 10 or maybe 10 of 11. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 9 of 10. They just got swept by the Pirates. And their bats have gone down the tubes during this stretch. They had one game where they scored 7. Here's what the Tigers have scored in their last 10 games. 3, 3, 7, 4, but then it gets worse. That's not great outside of the 7, but it gets worse. 0, 1, 2, 0, 5, 1. Their pitching obviously hasn't been great. Their offense has been worse. I mean, they get swept by the Pirates. That's just terrible. And so the Tigers are not playing well. The Guardians are playing a lot better. Again, if you look at the wild card, the last wild card right now is the Red Sox at 55 and 49. Then the Rangers, then the Rays, then the Guardians. Guardians are 2.5 games out behind both Seattle and Boston for the final 2 spots. So we'll see what happens. They're not going to buy. I'm not buying in. But please keep proving me wrong. Keep doing it. And hopefully at some point I can buy in if they keep it going. But to this point, it's still hard for me to buy in. Outside of the Astros, they've mostly beaten bad teams. But you still got to take care of business. They could have gone the other way. They could have definitely gone the other way. And when that 10-game losing streak could have been 17 out of 20. But they didn't. And they're playing great, and they deserve credit for it. And hopefully that will continue as we move forward here. Guardians will complete their series today against the Orioles. It's a 4-game set. Logan Allen's going to pitch today against Charlie Morton. The game is starting at 1:10. So only 5 games on the baseball schedule today, and the Orioles-Guardians is the only afternoon game. So we'll see if the Guardians can improve to 2 games over 500 and not fall back to 500 against the Orioles this afternoon. All right, that's going to do it for me for now. Thanks to Max and Z for producing today. You know what? Before I go, let me see if there's any more comments here, questions. I want to do that. And we do. Oh, yeah, Eddie, you asked me this question a couple times. I'm sorry I haven't answered. What would you trade for Spencer Jones? Spencer Jones is a top prospect in the Yankees organization. I don't think the Yankees would trade him. He's got big-time power. He is a guy that would fit the Guardians really well. Obviously, you're talking about something where you're trading Clase or Cade Smith as part of a deal. You'd want more than Spencer Jones, even as good as he is. If you're going to trade, if I'm the Yankees, I would consider just calling Spencer Jones up. But we'll see. Kirk says, but yeah, it would take a lot to get. Spencer Jones would be the type of key piece that you'd want to get if you were giving up a superstar. You'd get him as part of the return. Kirk says, "Good morning, Bull. What's your All-Star Gardens lineup?" Does he mean guard? I don't understand. What's your All-Star Guardian? I still don't understand. Like my all-time? Oh, my all-time Guardians lineup? I'd have to think about that for a little bit. I guess I'd have, off the top of my head, I think I'd have Sandy Alomar Jr. catching. I'd have Bob Feller pitching. I would have, I got to think about it more. I'd have Jose at third. I'd have Lindor at short. I'd have Roberto Alomar at second. Tomey at first. Hafner at DH. Manny in right. Kenny Lofton center. And Albert Bell. Can I put him in left and DH Hafner? That's off the top of my head. So there you go. But I want to think about that more. $400 million Jet. Hey, Bull, do you think Jose could go down as the best third baseman of all time? I've heard Brooks Robinson and Cal Ripken, but I don't think Ripken was as great as people make him out to be. Cal Ripken was excellent. Brooks Robinson, very good. I don't think either of them are the best third baseman of all time. I think the best third baseman of all time is Mike Schmidt. Could Jose be the best third baseman of all time? Probably not, but no. I don't. I mean, Mike Schmidt had over 500 home runs. Love Jose, though. Sam, I think he's exposing more people nationally to the greatness of Tommy. Yes. Sam also says, I'm reserving a hotel in Cooperstown as soon as I can after Jose retires. Z says, who has the best Hall of Fame to visit as a fan? I've only been to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I have been to the Baseball Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, the Distance Running Hall of Fame, the Boxing Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think that's it. To me, baseball is the best. They were all good. Even the Distance Running Hall of Fame. It's small, but it was cool. Anthony says G. Bush is about to have a meltdown about Shedeur not being quarterback one. He very well may. $400 million Jet. No Larry Doby. Yeah, Larry. Listen, I did this off the top of my head. Somebody asked me. Larry Doby would be on the roster, but I don't think he'd be a starter. I mean, who am I benching? I got Manny, Albert Bell, and Kenny Lofton in the outfield. What am I mean, Larry Doby's awesome. I don't know he's better than any of those guys. It's tough. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm squeaking. I'll be on UCSS today, and I'll be back here with Bet Rivers on the Betting Weekly Hardball. We'll go through the 5 games on the docket today and keep you up to date on the Guardians. That's coming up at 2 o'clock. Talk to you next time. See ya.